Straight to the business news then, and Brian is back with us on set after his time at Le Bourget at the beginning of the week. We're starting with an apparent revival. This is for stalled trade talks, of course, between the US and China. This is at the G20 summit as it approaches, isn't it, Brian?
That's right, Stuart. The latest chapter in this saga. US President Donald Trump says an extended meeting with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping is set for the sidelines of the G20 in Osaka next week. Trump has long said a tete-a-tete between the two presidents would be necessary to resolve the now year-long trade war that's battered global economic growth. Beijing confirmed the meeting, something it had previously declined to do. Talks between the two sides broke down last month as the U.S. accused China of reneging on previously agreed commitments. The planned meeting avoids, for now, the threat of new U.S. tariffs being applied to the some $325 billion in Chinese imports not yet targeted. Trump talked up his personal relationship with Xi amid the latest developments. Here he is.
You know, you may have read a couple of things about China. I spoke to President Xi, terrific president, a great leader of China. Spoke to him this morning at length, and we'll see what happens. But we're either going to have a good deal and a fair deal, or we're not going to have a deal at all, and that's okay too.
Well, Trump has lashed out at European Central Bank President Mario Draghi over possible new economic stimulus measures for the Eurozone. Trump complaining about the Euro's drop in value against the dollar following Draghi's announcement that the ECB could restart its program of bond purchases if inflation fails to pick up. The U.S. president characterized that as a form of currency manipulation, noting that European stock indexes rose in response to Draghi's comments. Well, those European markets mixed at the open on Wednesday as investors look ahead to hints from the U.S. Federal Reserve that it might cut interest rates later this year. London's FTSE 100 and the CAC 40 here in Paris with some very minor gains. Frankfurt DAX down just over 0.1% at the open. Over to the Asian indexes, they charged ahead Wednesday as investors were cheered by those U.S.-China trade developments. The Nikkei in Tokyo closed up around 1.75%, just under that, as we see here. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index up around 2.25%. Shanghai Composite up nearly a full percent. Samsung shares are up 2.25% in Seoul. The Kospi Index closed up 1.25%. The U.S. legislators are set to hear testimony Wednesday from pilots who have criticized Boeing's failure to inform them of changes to flight control software blamed in 2 deadly crashes. Those crashes sent Boeing into crisis as its workhorse 737 MAX series jets were grounded worldwide. That's put a serious damper on Boeing's sales prospects at the crucial Paris Air Show taking place this week. But a new order from British Airways' parent company is breathing new life into the 737 MAX program. Solange Moujan reports.
A first order after a global scandal. At the Paris Air Show, where airlines the world over come to place billion-dollar orders, there's finally been a breath of fresh air for Boeing. The group IAG, which provides planes for British Airways, says it intends to buy 200 Boeing 737 MAXes, even if the plane remains grounded around the world, over flight control software, blamed for 2 deadly crashes. The Chicago-based company thanked IAG on social media for their trust. While not yet a firm order, the letter of intent is valued at list price at $24 billion. But IAG is thought to have been given a major discount. For this is the first order to come in since the Ethiopian Airlines crash last March. Since that crash and the Lion Air crash before that, Boeing has been in the hot seat. It's being investigated into hiding the software issues. But for IAG, the order is about getting the planes they need. Competitor Airbus's production line for their A320 is already full. And it's also about moving past the scandal.
We're confident that Boeing will solve those issues. So I think that's a question for Boeing. But we're confident that they will get these issues behind them.
Boeing, though, still has a long way to go. For the flight control scandal cost the lives of hundreds of people. It shook the confidence of travelers and pilots in Boeing to be forthright. And the company still needs to go through ongoing hearings, get regulators to okay their planes, not to mention compensating the airlines with grounded planes and the families that lost loved ones.
Finally, for business, Facebook's plan to launch a new cryptocurrency, the Libra, is facing pushback from lawmakers and privacy advocates alike worldwide. Facebook hopes the Libra will give people without bank accounts access to e-commerce as well as serving established businesses and consumers. But the chair of the U.S. House Financial Services Committee has asked the company to pause development until regulators have had their say. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire asking central bankers of the G7 to prepare a report by mid-July. Facebook is already facing backlash over a raft of privacy scandals. Analysts say the Libra could be viable, but that rebuilding trust will be key.
I mean, Facebook's infrastructure and technology will allow the currency to be more stable, will allow many more transactions per second, for example, will allow more stability. But the way this is monitored is going to require a lot more, especially in the face of all these investigations into privacy concerns.
Giving Facebook access to all my digital currency after those last ones, Stuart, I don't know.
Well, I don't know what you're saying, Brian. Yes, slightly worried about it.
We'll see.
Thank you very much. Brian Quinn with Business.